Good morning. Well, as those of you who have watched any of my recent videos will know that about 3 weeks ago the Zoomer failed its MOT. And the reason it failed its MOT was because there was too much play in the rear wheel. It was moving slightly from side to side and that exceeded the sort of tolerances. Maybe there aren't any tolerances, I don't know. But anyway, it failed on that basis. Now, initially the dealer thought it was just a case of bearings, but actually when they had a quick look at it, they realised that the main gear that the back wheel goes onto had actually rubbed on the hole in the swing arm it goes into, and it had basically just worn away, and I needed a new gear and a new swing arm. Now the cost I was quoted for the work was £1,000, which was £400 for parts, which is about right. I mean, that's probably what I'll end up spending, and £600 for labour, and that wasn't happening. So what I've done in the previous video was remove the swing arm and dismantled the gear, and what we're going to do today is we're going to replace the bearings in the gear housing. The new swing arm and the new drive gear haven't arrived yet. They should be with the supplier next week sometime, and I should get them sometime the week after. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have that and we can put it all back together. But at the moment, seeing as we've got the gearbox open, we're going to change out the bearings anyway. It seemed to make sense to do. So what I'm going to do in this video is attempt to do that. I'm going to show you the tools I'm going to be using, and we'll see how it goes. Now, as always, I'm doing this in my spare bedroom. I don't have a garage or anything like that, or a workshop to work in. So this is really, this is basic stuff and shows you what you can do. I'm not a mechanic. I've never changed a bearing or anything like this before, so this is all new to me. So if I'm making a hash of it, well, I'm sure you'll tell me, but we're going to have a go anyway, because let's face it, if I get it right, it's £600 in my pocket. So that's it. I'm going to show you the tools, and then we're going to move on to actually getting these bearings out and see how we go with that. So thanks as always for watching. Hope you find it interesting. Excuse the washing machine noise in the background, but just to show you the bearings I'm going to be fitting have been sitting in the freezer overnight. And this is recommended by everybody, because what this does is just very slightly contracts the metal, so it just makes fitting a little bit easier. So these have been sitting chilling since last night, and we'll be taking them out later. Okay, so this is going to be the workbench. As you can see, it's an old coffee table that one of my neighbours was throwing out, so I grabbed that because it doesn't matter if it gets oil on it or gets scratched, because it'll be going back in the bin when I finish with it. So here we have the swing arm and the gear block all apart, waiting to be swapped out. So this is the bit today that we're going to be taking the bearings out of and putting new bearings in. This is the gear that is going to be completely replaced. Obviously we're going to completely replace this swing arm here, which means that the clutch gear will need taken out, and I've got a new bearing for that too, but obviously I'll be putting that into the new swing arm. This will be getting jerked out because this is the area that is worn, and this is the end that fits into it that is also worn. Okay, so what have we got tools wise? Well, first up we have a slide hammer. Now this helps get the bearings out. Now this was only 18 quid on eBay, and I wasn't really expecting much for 18 quid, but it's actually quite a solid bit of kit. It's not bad at all. What you do is you basically put this through the bearing. This little lip catches the bottom of it, and then you take the slide hammer, and this is a heavy bit of kit, and you just basically bang the bearing out. I will show obviously when it's easier to demonstrate with two hands when I'm actually doing it. So slide hammer, that's number one, 18 quid, and that included the postage. A handy thing to have. I've also got, which is borrowed from work because I don't have one, this is a heat gun. And what we're going to do with that when we come to change everything is we're going to heat up round the bearing holes once the old ones are removed. And obviously the heat on this expands this metal very, very slightly. The cold on the bearings, which are in the freezer, compresses them very, very slightly, and it just means the whole thing should be easier to fit the new bearings into. So that's basically all we've got. We've got a heat gun and the slide hammer. We've got some gear oil just to make sure everything's oiled up, and we're going to put this back together now. And obviously I can't reassemble it or anything because I need the other parts yet, but we're going to change the two bearings that are in here. So that's the next stage. Right, so the first thing we're obviously going to have to do is take out the gears. Now, if you're paranoid about things going back wrongly like me, the great thing is we can now photograph and film everything so we can see exactly how it comes apart. So first of all, we've got a washer here. If I can get my bit of nails into it. Now, I'm going to put that in a bag marked main washer. That may be paranoid, but I want to know where all the bits are, because there's another washer here and they are actually different sizes slightly. So we'll put this as the small washer, although it's only marginally smaller, but we want to get it right. So that's the washers off. So this is then slides out of here, he says optimistically. There we go. So this is the gear that we're getting a new one, because the end is rounded and marked, and this is what is supposed to be rubbing wrongly in the what do you call it, the frame swing arm. So this will be replaced, this will be thrown away. So already you can see we've got an oil seal in here and a bearing. So let's take this bit out, middle bit comes out first. These gears are fine, we're keeping these. That's that. And under this is a little plastic washer, which you need to keep, very important. So actually what I'll do is I'll put that in one of these bags, because that's obviously different. So that little plastic washer, and the washer goes whole side, there's little holes in it, the holes face downwards. So what you can see, what we've got are the two bearings we're going to replace. We're going to replace this one here, even though that's not causing a problem. I thought, well, it's apart, let's change it anyway. And this is the one, the important one that we're going to replace here. So we'll have the parts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just get a quick rub to get some more of this oil out, and then we're going to try the slide hammer and see if it'll come out, and then we're going to take some brake cleaner and completely clean this all up so it's nice and shiny. As you can see, there's also a gasket, plastic gasket compound on here. We'll need to scrape all this off, and then I've got gasket stuff to redo that when we come to putting it back together again. So that's the plan at the moment, that's it apart. Now we're going to get the slide hammer and we're going to take out, hopefully take out, these bearings. Okay, so prized the oil seal out, probably not doing it the way a professional would, but anyway, that's it out. So as you can see, that's the old bearing in here now. Actually seems quite smooth, but we're going to take it out anyway and replace it. So what we're probably going to do is heat up this with the heat gun, because this metal here should expand slightly quicker than the metal on the bearing, which is just going to free it up a little bit, and then we can put the slide hammer in and hopefully just pull it out. That's the plan anyway. Well, you get the general idea. We're going to persevere at this for a little while. Okay, so try to do these jobs in your spare bedroom is never the best of ideas, but there we go. After a few good tugs, one bearing out. Right, I'm going to do the same with the smaller one in there, and then we're going to get this gear housing case all cleaned up and ready to put the new ones in, which should be fun. Perseverance. Okay, so with some heat and a bit of brute force, that is bearing number 2 out. So that's us got the 2 bearings out, as you can see. Ouch, that's still quite hot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get some brake cleaner, we're going to clean all this up, get it looking as good as new, and then we'll be ready for the next stage, which will be installing the new bearings. So stick with me for that, because that might be fun too.